I have an action from a Kawai, a console piano with some sluggish keys, and I mean this was the complaint from the client, but in reality what happened was the jack did not reset properly and some of the keys couldn't repeat, or they just couldn't play at all. And the reason was that the leather on the hammer butt is very worn. As you can see here, let me see if I can focus even better than this, so you can see. Okay, so the leather is very worn, as you can see, and the jack couldn't reset. Let me show you what I mean. So if we pretend that this is the jack, instead of pushing back, okay, so instead of pushing back upward on the hammer butt, the jack basically, it slipped. It couldn't catapult the hammer butt with a hammer, so it slipped like this. It slipped just like this instead of hitting it like that. And the reason is that this particular piano, I believe, was not made in Japan. Most likely was made in their Chinese factory, and they did not use a real leather, but rather I believe this is a synthetic material, and it wears out a lot quicker. So I'm going to replace this material here with real leather, and the one that I'm using is from Schaff Piano Supply. It's stock number 329B, and it looks like this. It looks like this. You can see how the knob, it goes in two directions. So I'm basically following the knob. I want the hammer butt to, when it goes up, to go on the smoother side, and when it returns, it will be on the rougher side, but it won't really touch the leather on the way back, or it will barely touch. So on the way up, it will just go on the smoother side, which is going to create less resistance, and it will provide more control to the player. So I have this upright butt leather that I'm going to cut into pieces. I have already removed and measured several pieces from the old material, and I have measured the distance between, let me focus again, okay, so between the blade and the stopper. So basically this is what is going to give me the correct distance, and all I need to do is just push the leather until it stops here, and then I'm gonna cut it just like this. So I have to make sure which side is the smoothest. Okay, so it goes smooth like this way. So I'm going to glue it like this, and so I will take one hammer assembly, Let me see, I have to be careful to watch here that everything is in focus. Okay, so I just take a knife, utility knife, and very carefully I'm going to remove the old material here. Okay, and you can clearly see now that this is not real leather. Definitely not. Okay, so under this leather we have three types of felt, and I'm going to explain to you what the reason is for them. So the first one, this one, the red one, this block of red felt, is where the jack rests and where the jack returns. So once a key is played, the jack, as mentioned already, the jack catapults the hammer through the hammer butt, and then when you release the key, and then stays like that if you hold the key. But if you release the key, what's going to happen? The jack will reset and will fall back. So if we don't have this piece of felt right here, the jack is made out of wood, so it's going to click on the hammer butt assembly because it's made out of wood as well. So this piece of felt is very important on every single hammer butt, and often you will see on older pianos, I mean not that often, but often when you have some clicking issues on older pianos, it will be because this piece is either very worn and there is a hole where the jack touches the wood, or just this is missing. And I quite often need to, I always carry this type of felt in my toolbox. So when I see older pianos with missing felt where jacks click, I just glue a new piece of felt, and it's good to go for another 50 or 100 years, why not? So these two pieces of felt here, they're put to basically support the leather. You not only also support, but also they're making a little bit like a bump, so the leather can stay around it, exactly where the jack is going to push. Otherwise, if we didn't have this type of felt, the jack would wear faster, and also it would not be as the travel of the jack would not be as smooth. So this is why we have these two pieces of leather here that always are glued. On some pianos it's only one type of felt. In this case there are two, and this one is a little bit harder and this one is a little bit softer, and on top of these felt goes the leather. Now it's very important to note that when we glue the new piece of leather, we should not put any glue on top of this felt because the glue is going to harden. So we need to make sure that we insert glue right here in this crevice, and also right here above this piece of felt on the wood itself. So basically the leather is going to be glued on the bottom and on the top. So this is what I'm going to do now and show you how to do it. It's actually a pretty easy process, but like almost everything in a piano, it's very time consuming. So first I need to release this spring from the flange. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my glue. I'm using this type of Aleene's tacky glue. It's a very good glue because it glues any type of felt or leather to wood. So this is not the best wood glue, but if you want to glue wood to wood, you would use a carpenter's wood glue. But if you glue any type of leather or felt to a wood, in my opinion, this is one of the best glues out there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just clean the tip. I'm going to inject a little bit of glue in the crevice in here. Hopefully you can see it on the camera. A little bit. Okay, and a little bit right here on top. Just a little bit. Make sure you don't put too much because it might spread onto the felt. Now I take my leather, make sure that the direction of the knob is correct, and first I'm going to lock it inside, push it as far down as I can into this crevice. So I'm going to push it in. It looks pretty good so far. You can see here it's very nicely in place, and once I'm sure that it is there, now all I need to do is push it up. Just push it up like this, and then I'm going to clamp it. But before I clamp, I want to make sure that it is perfectly centered, and in this case it is. It looks very good. So what I'm going to do is take a clamp. I have these clamps here, which I bought from Home Depot, I believe, and they're very handy. So what I'm going to do is, you can see how the flange goes inside the clamp. I'm going to clamp just like this, the top side of the leather. Okay, and let me focus the camera again. Okay, so this is how I'm going to leave it. It doesn't take too long, half an hour or even less, and the glue sets. So I'm going to leave it right there. I have another hammer that I have already, then I'm going to show you. Okay, so it's right here. See, right next to my fish tank, because my fish, they love to watch me while I'm working on pianos. So I'm going to show you, I have a few hammers that I have already repaired. I'll show you this hammer butt here. Just need to focus. Okay, another one here I'm going to show you as well. Okay, you can see this one better. So this one is already glued, replacing this one will work very, very nice. The jack is going to reset very well. It's going to work nicely, and this one is going to last for a lot longer. Something I also would like to show you in regards to the material, the leather in this case, is, see, the original leather that they used from the factory. Let me see. I can focus. You can tell it's very thin. It's also very, very soft. Very soft. And the real leather that I'm using from Chef is a thicker, definitely thicker. And it's not as soft. I mean, it is soft, but not as soft as the other one. It is just a better quality material. It will last a lot longer. Well, I have a lot more hammers to work on, and hopefully when I'm done, everything will work the way it did when the piano was brand new, with the only difference that this time it will last a lot longer. And this piano is, in my opinion, it's about 20 years or so, 20-25 years old, so it's not that old at all. Just the material is not of the quality of the higher end pianos. Thank you for watching.